Gonna be on in just a moment.
Do you want to drop me your friend code so I can join you?
Oh yeah. When I get in the game here, I'll drop it. Anyone else coming into the castle, or you're not? You're good.
Yeah, I'll probably jump over there to you.
I probably won't be able to make it in the game today. I'm tweaking some stuff on my graphics card to get something to work over here.
Oh, be careful, Jason. Last time you tweaked stuff, the power went out.
Oh, dude. Well, yeah, I should say, if my power goes out, it's not my, or if I disconnect, it's because my power went out today. Some construction going on up the road for me.
Yeah. Yeah, gotta hate it when that happens. You're doing your thing, having a good time, and then all of a sudden, done.
Yeah. Well, and I wouldn't mind it if they would just let me know, like, hey, you know, we're gonna be working on the lines Thursday or Friday or whatever, and you might have a power outage. Okay, at least I'll be expecting it. I had no idea, and I panicked yesterday.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like, dude, the first thing I always think of is like, man, I know I paid that bill, right? Holy crap. Maybe I missed it.
Hey, real quick, how long are we going to be today?
The longest it should be is about 2 hours, but so about an hour and a half. If it goes out,
I got about an hour.
Okay.
I got about an hour personally, so I may have to leave a little early.
All right, that's fine.
Ooh, you got special stuff going on, Bob, or you just don't want to talk about that?
I'm trying to get a fucking edit of 90 hours done before StarField.
Ooh.
Oh, you got 13 days, buddy.
Yeah. I've got 20% of the script written so far, so I'm right on track.
There you go. Well, before StarField or before a potential No Man's Sky update? Probably this
I'm
week.
thinking I'm going to have to miss that, dude. I've got to get this out or it's a wasted month.
What the blasphemy, sir?
I mean, it's a sunk cost at this point.
Well, yeah, I can understand that. You already probably. You know what? What if I just sneak into your house and accidentally get rid of all your files? That way you don't even have anything to work with.
Then I don't know. I'd be sad.
All right, the friend code went on over the stream.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
Where's it at?
on a stream.
Oh,
I'm
shit,
gonna pop that in
I'm
while
not
I'm
even
here.
on YouTube.
What? You gotta be in the chat, man.
I was in Discord. Too many windows.
You're in half the chat.
Ready to go. Then I'll head over to the castle and I'll have the whatchamacallit up on screen.
I will say that we were trying to do that yesterday, and I don't know if you're updating it or whatever, but multiplayer was just broken like really bad yesterday.
There's only like 5 of us, so I was thinking maybe the 8 rule should be fine, but if it's still like super buggy, then we'll try to just carry on through Discord then.
Yeah. Because I know, I think Ricey was doing it yesterday, and he was having a hard time hitting 8.
Yeah.
Jeez. Mo SG, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Woo! How's it going?
Oh, our audio is going over the stream already? All right.
Let's see. Wings Castle. Okay, cool. Sazable is here. Sazable, welcome.
Yeah.
Draconic, hey, what's going on? Oh, man, I don't know about you guys, I'm still feeling super sleepy. My wife was calling it like an equivalency to being drunk. I was just like at the table, just kind of like nodding off, and then I started talking funny, and she started laughing at me. So, oh my god, this is what you look like when you're drunk? I'm like, I've never been drunk before. But let me go ahead and, I mean, that's what you want in the first, like, what, 2 minutes of your stream, just talking about that. But what is going on, everyone? Welcome to State of the Game. I'm gonna go ahead and have a few guests say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Going on?
We're gonna go ahead and talk about the state of the game for No Man's Sky with Jason Plays, Moose. Professor Cynical will be on his way. He's gonna be a little late. And Survival Bob. Everyone, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having
absolutely.
us.
Go ahead and put that portal coordinates. Oh my god, I could not like spew it out of my mouth. There we go.
Yeah, I might have to do that because I'm not seeing you in the multiplayer list.
Yeah. Are you invisible online?
I shouldn't be.
Okay.
Let me check. Let's see. Multiplayer enabled. Yep.
I'm not seeing anybody in multiplayer right now.
Same.
Yeah, it's been kind of busted.
Ah.
I thought they might have revoked my privileges.
Well, they did for you, but everyone else is fine.
That's what I thought.
Are you online on Steam? Yes?
I am.
Okay. I know sometimes I do that. I always play offline so I don't get notifications, but then I forget to do it whenever I'm doing multiplayer.
Does it work a little bit better that way?
Well, Jason's just so popular, people be jumping in on his game.
Dude, that it never happens until I start talking. It's like someone knows that I'm recording something. It's crazy.
Right.
Oh no. Oh, good. It went through. They've been having a major issue with photos for some odd reason. I don't know why. Every time I try to take a photo, it would just freeze the entire game.
Really?
I'm like, ooh, they fixed it. And then all of a sudden, no, they didn't fix it.
Huh.
Yeah, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Happy Saturday. Woo, what's going on? That's why multiplayer is bugged. Graphics is like, oh, I need my glasses. I'm sitting here squinting like Magoo.
I haven't had any trees having the same stripes on them. And the thing I always do, because I've run into so many issues with No Man's Sky, whenever there's a patch or an update, I back up my saves, other than one time. I back up my saves and delete everything and then re-download it. That way it's all fresh. And I generally, not always, but generally don't run into as many issues.
Should probably do that. I am guilty of not doing that.
I obsessively do. I probably do it way too often.
Yeah, that's something we can't necessarily do on consoles. I mean, we do have the cloud save itself; it automatically saves. But
yeah, well, I mean, for a console, I would always recommend at least once in a while, maybe once a year or whatever, just completely delete the game and then reset. You know, completely power down, power back up. That way, it boots it off, and then re-download.
Right.
Anyone else need the friend code up at all? Oh, not friend code, the portal coordinates.
Where did you put them?
Oh, they're in they're on stream right now.
Oh, yeah, on the screen. Yeah. I'm like looking in the chat. I'm like,
bottom
where is
left
it?
hand side.
Yeah. Oh, is that
what
how
you like?
they do it in No Man's Sky? I got you.
So like,
You're in Euclid?
yes.
I assume so, right? Okay.
Eh.
Hey, I can't spit it out of my mouth. Crash, thank you so much for the sub. That's what's up. Thank you for coming, everyone. And Cap Gamer, he's having the same thing. Hey, Survival Ball, that's what's up. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't subscribed. My bad.
Good Lord, Bob, what are you doing?
I'm a horrible person. That's all it is.
I can't remember who. I think it was Flowery. I got unsubscribed from him somehow.
Sure you did.
And so I raided him. I literally raided him, and then I noticed I wasn't subscribed, and the first thing I thought was, don't do it now. It'll pop up on the screen, and they will shame you. So just wait till later when he's not streaming.
Just lean into the shame, Jason. That's what I do.
Yeah, YouTube has a tendency of unsubscribing you from people for some reason.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. They've been doing that for years.
I have a feeling they at least they tell us that they periodically go through, and if you haven't watched a video from someone in a long time, they kind of do that as a test to see if you actually care about that or if you're just a what they call a dead subscriber. What I think is they just like doing that just to mess with everyone, because I watch Flowery
Absolutely.
every week and I still got unsubscribed. And I'm like, what? I watch him every week.
Right.
You just tried to subscribe twice. It doesn't work that way.
And I just keep tapping it.
Oh my god, how many? Oh, I was gonna say, how many floors are in this castle? I was unsubbed as well. I just subbed again. Thank you, Sazable. As we're sitting here having the conversation. But
Oops.
Yep.
but man, yeah, YouTube. Why YouTube?
Saz, you said you saw the same stripes on my stream. I need to go back and look at it. I didn't see him. Maybe I'm just blind.
Oh, I thought that's why you were talking about it, because she had brought it up.
Yeah, she brought it up, but I thought she was talking about hers, not mine. I don't even pay attention anymore. I'm just going through. And...
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what's up.
finally found a ship last night on the No HUD Insane permadeath fugitive.
No
channel.
HUD? Oh, Lord, dude. That is... I love doing that, but that takes a toll on you, man.
Oh.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I ended up
So it
doing that.
took 11 hours. 11 hours to find a ship.
Holy
Star
man.
Tech. Oh, sorry, you guys. There. The hotkeys for my keyboard, I went ahead and switched them over from the numbers over to the number lock pad, and then all of a sudden, I accidentally just keep messing with them. So it's still new to me because it's not on the top anymore. But from all the games that have hotbars, every time I touch it, then the screen will just go wild. But
Hey, throw the glyphs up again for me, please.
yes, sir.
Finally charged.
Oh, that's why. Okay. So that's going to be a big issue. Okay, it's perfect. Because now I have my No Man's Sky, what is it? My hotkeys for No Man's Sky set on the same settings for the OBS. I'm like, it's going to be a problem either way. Either I'm having issues with the hotbars for games that's also tied to OBS, or it's just something else tied to something else. I'm like, should I just get a Stream Deck?
Right.
Yeah. Well, Stream Deck, number one. But number two, you guys are all way too scientific. I use a controller, and keyboard doesn't exist while I'm playing No Man's Sky.
Sizable, thank you so much for the sub.
Yep. Controller here too. Although I've been trying my hand with the mouse and keyboard on some games, and some of them I suck.
Dude, I was controller up until about 3 years ago, my whole life, and then when I started doing PC gaming, I was like, I just gotta bite the bullet, and
Yeah.
I just didn't even bring a controller in the same room as my PC, so I wouldn't break down and go for it. But I got there eventually.
Dude, I
Yeah.
tried so hard. I did it with
Yeah.
Planet Crafter because the controller support sucks so bad. I forced myself. I played that game for 3 days in a row, and I just couldn't do it.
Oh yes, I did all mouse and keyboard on Planet Crafter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's worth it. It's totally is. Because
Yeah.
whenever I play Planet Crafter, I do mouse and keyboard, but I'm
Yeah.
always eyeballing my controller, going, "Come on, fix that, please, fix it, so I can use that instead."
Right.
Oh man, I was really big on the controller for No Man's Sky when I was playing on PS4. Then I had moved over to PC, and I was like, okay, let's give mouse and keyboard a try. I was like, nah, I can't do it. I gotta have a controller. But using the Xbox controller instead of the PS4 controller, I was like, nah, I can't do it that way still. So I had to learn either way.
You could use a PS4 controller on PC, right?
I think
Yes.
I have.
you have to go through a third party to get it connected, right?
No.
I
Oh,
don't think
no.
so. Yeah, if you play through Steam, you don't have to. They have the overlay
Oh,
that you can use with that.
I'm gonna have to play around with that.
Yeah, you
do it.
can
I
use-
used my PS5 controller on it. It works fine. I
Yep.
just
Quit being babies and learn how to use a keyboard like a real man.
no.
Hey, is that who I think that is that just jumped in?
Real man. No.
Good day, gentlemen.
Hey.
Is this an open party, or can anyone join?
Oh yeah.
You don't
Welcome.
want
Hey,
me
Mio.
over here. an open party, or has anybody?
I think somebody's got their speakers
Yeah, you
on
might
and
want-
there's feedback.
Yeah, Miyogi, I think
Just
you're
just bear with me a second. I do apologise.
I'm on Xbox, so I can't use the controller.
Right, apologies. that was me being Moose knows what I'm like sometimes. Without having too much technology help. But
Oh, no problem. Once everyone gets settled, we're gonna go ahead and get started on some of the questions. I
Hey,
kind of
Heather.
wanted to focus. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, hey, Heather.
Heather
Heather
Silvermist,
Silvermist is in.
welcome.
Yeah.
Heather.
Ah! Don't hit the castle. Fine. That's fine. Nothing to see here.
Sweet, I'll go ahead and take off the portal coordinates. And does anyone else need them?
Thinking. Do I see somebody? I don't see anybody.
In about 6 minutes, Bob will be again.
Thank you so much for the
I'm
sub,
here,
that's
dude.
what's
I'm
up.
just not in the right instance. I'm all by myself.
Go ahead and take a
Touch
seat here.
everything.
Yeah, multiplayer.
I'm still looking for your ship, Bob. No lie.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the couches.
Do you think they'll ever
Yeah.
fix multiplayer again? Because it feels like they broke it about last year, like with the 4.0 update, and it's just never been the
Well,
same.
I'm sure everybody by now has seen Captain Steve's video on the whole multiplayer thing with Microsoft Azure. Have you guys seen that or no?
Uh-uh.
Oh,
yeah, I've seen that on Mark Gaps and Steve's. Yeah,
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 Professor
that's it,
Cynical also did a rebuttal on it too for Captain Steve's video that basically Hello Games doesn't control the multiplayer servers. There's one guy that writes the code, does all that, ships it off to Microsoft Azure, which is a cloud-based product, and that's what does multiplayer.
is that
So-
true? Is that a fact?
It was an actual Hello Games guy talking at what was it, a DevCon or something? I don't remember what it was called, but it was a British some tech show. I forgot what it was called, but there is the actual video of that conference on YouTube, and at the very end of it, I think the guy's name was Ian, who worked for Hello Games. He had said that if somebody was watching, he probably already said too much.
So
yeah.
that's why multiplayer's not working. They took him out and killed him, so now we don't have any multiplayer connection.
I think it could just be because it's a third-party service that's doing it, and he was saying that each time they do, like, it keeps getting cheaper, is exactly what he said. So,
Okay, but I mean, I don't know. I would love to just talk to him because there was some kind of a switch or thing that happened because it was all of a sudden multiplayer worked and it wasn't perfect. It never was, but it was way better.
Right.
But something happened and within a week it was just totally busted.
yeah.
I need to put in a ticket or something.
Hey, Microsoft, we know you're busy with these games and stuff, but maybe you can help us out with our multiplayer servers. That'd be great.
Right.
You know,
I
you're
mean,
buying
ultimately-
everybody. Come on.
Yeah, and then ultimately, it was never really intended to be a multiplayer game, right? In the beginning, it was all single player.
Which is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yes, we remember the days, Moose, when it was all orbs. You put an orb near a base and it crashed your game out, and God did corruptible things to your whole saves. Oh, those days.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the pattern that I've seen, and maybe I might be completely wrong, but it feels like things start off good and then they just slowly evolve into not working. Where to me, it should be the other way around. It should start really bad, like they don't know what they're doing or they implemented it, and then they work on it and they bug fix it and they make it better. But it feels like, yeah, we started out with 4 players, and we jumped to 12, and then we jumped to 32. But it worked for, like, there was a golden moment of like 6 months or a year where it was perfect almost, and then it just fell apart.
right.
So I don't know
I agree
what
with
that
you.
is. Yeah,
I
And
agree with
it's-
you, Jason.
And it's the same thing with like when they did the next update back in 2018, they added third-person camera, and you're able to customize your character. that was all beautiful. You have, different body pieces, like your armor pieces and heads, and you can do the colors and everything, and that was beautiful. And then they slap in a freighter customization that is, the camera's broken, the colors don't work sometimes. It's like, how do you go from this one to that one? It feels like that one was just like, we'll just throw in this thing that barely works.
Well, I made it.
Hey.
I wonder if it's just because
I don't know how to sit down like that.
Game is running on the original engine, and we keep adding all these newer and more complex things to it. Maybe it's just it can't handle it. Maybe it needs to move to a new engine. But if it does that, would it mean a reset?
And would that be so bad for players?
That is the big question, because I know we've had. When was the last reset? Was it next or was it after next?
I believe it was. I believe it was next when Xbox joined.
Yeah. So, do you think that we've just? It's like time. It's a cost sunk fallacy of, all right, we did it once. We can't just keep doing a reset. So we're just gonna deal with this as it is and just bolt on as much as we can until everything falls apart.
As far as reset goes, I think Sean and the team are concerned about the backlash from the community because you have all these people that built these bases and wonderful civilizations. They don't want to throw all that away for as big as it's gotten now.
Yeah.
Well, if it's hosted on servers, it's going away at some point.
Yeah.
Right. That's just the nature of it. It's not something you keep forever, unfortunately.
What would that mean for Expedition? Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going, Bob. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to see, because at some point, everybody just it's just not worth continuing to pay to keep these servers up. It may be a long time, but
Right.
I don't think hanging on and not doing a reset for that reason is a good one, personally. If it's going to improve the game dramatically and give it more life.
Right.
But if they're winding down, then why bother?
Bob, I can share a little bit of information. I can't share an awful lot, but I know of one person who's pretty respected within the community, and I can't give you his name out, that is working on a server with a team of people to carry No Man's Sky onwards.
Cool.
If they do pull the plug, we will be able to share that information at a later stage. I'm very proud that I work with that person on many things. So, I've been working on all sorts of projects. But I've been very lucky that they've asked for my advice, to be honest with you, because we as the helpers party have got 15Ks. We've got 15Ks, 20,000 Ks worth of hours in it, like Moose has, and that's not poo-pooing that. We've got a vast experience with No Man's Sky, and obviously other games dotted around the place. So, it's like, for instance, Star Wars Galaxies. Sony made a right mess of that. They pulled the plug on it, and still to this day it runs on an independent server with 2,000 people that play it, and it's an awesome game. It was designed to be. It had creature building in it, had droid making in it, it had all sorts of things, and it still runs to this day. So I don't think that they're going to pull such a big game like No Man's Sky, and if they do, then there are people within the community that are really actively looking at pushing it forward.
So with multiplayer being busted and everything, what does this mean for Expeditions?
I think the Expeditions will run. It's odd, isn't it? Because if you run an expedition and you're in multiplayer, you see people all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the time you see them. But when we actually try to join each other, there's always issues. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But then again, NMS, nothing makes sense, right?
Right.
Well, and I think that for a while now, we've been talking, me, Survival Bob, Zane's World, Evil Bum, we've been talking about how a lot of these expeditions have felt like testing for the servers. Like, they have us do certain missions or go to certain places, or everyone uploading bases on the same planet to see what the maximum capacity could be or how they can tweak it. it feels like we had I think it was 2 or 3 expeditions ago. We literally had one where we had to go visit another player's freighter. So you had to be in multiplayer. You had to join somebody.
Yes.
And then they kind of shied away from that. And now it's more of, hey, everyone turn in research, basically do a scan and upload it. Don't talk to each other. Don't join anybody. So I feel like they've hit that. They know what the limit is. And so now they're, for lack of a better term, it's more asynchronous. It's, hey, look, you can communicate with the servers and yeah, you can see other players and blah. But that's not what we're focused on because we know we have a limit. So it's more about you uploading your information to the servers rather than interacting with other players.
Right.
I
Yeah,
feel like
I'm wondering
that's
if they.
probably what they're doing.
I'm wondering if they thought they could do something and then found out they couldn't, or that it was going to be too intensive to make it worthwhile. Like I feel like we've had just because of the incongruity of the last couple years, it feels like they keep starting down a road and then stopping and going down a different road and then stopping and then it's. I mean, they're doing this the way I would if I was in charge, and that's a bad idea. Like I just keep running from squirrel to squirrel and not ever completing anything I'm supposed to. And
well, for me, I would say this is all speculation. I have no idea, but this feels like what you would do with your game when you have another game that you're working on, and you're like, hey, would we be able to do this? Would it make sense? Let's test it, real life test in this game we already have. And find out, oh yeah, that does not work, so we're not going to put it in the new one. We're just going to cut that. We don't need that, or whatever. Or test it. Oh yeah, that totally works. We'll move that over to the new game too.
Maybe I'd hope they'd be building whatever the new game is on a newer engine than what No Man's Sky's built on.
Well, I mean, newer engine for sure, but I mean, you can still test the server limit's going to be a server limit no matter what engine you're using.
Dude, I don't know. I still got dial-up internet.
Yeah, so they probably know that, and so they're like, everyone made a big deal about multiplayer, but and I have no idea what the stats are, but they do. They can see it and go, whenever we put multiplayer in here, we only have 10% or 20% of people who actually use it. So is that worth the investment, or do we even just cut multiplayer completely and say we're going to focus on single player only, or maybe that's what they're testing. They're like, yeah, we're going to incentivize people. We're really going to make them do it for the community event or the expedition. And even with incentives, nobody does it, or only half the people do it. So why even use it for later on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at StarField. I mean, they're not doing multiplayer at the beginning, at least.
Well,
and hopefully there'll be some mods.
Generally doesn't do it, and we all ignore Fallout 76, but they generally don't do it.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have a modder come in, and then they did it for Skyrim. A bunch of modders had Skyrim together, and they were able to have multiplayer that way. So I think that might happen for StarField at some point. I don't know when. It took a while for them to have Skyrim together.
Hey,
welcome.
Yeah.
But for those of you who I'm sorry, Jason. Just a second.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. That's all you meant.
For those of you who are just coming to the chat, I'm giving you the Lando Calrissian hello, so that way I don't. As I try to get my words together, I'm not overlapping over someone who's speaking. I apologize again, Jason. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries, dude. No worries. Jumping into to say maybe. I know it's specifically for Skyrim. Bethesda's way of doing things is just putting the tools out there and basically giving blank canvas and letting the community go wild, versus No Man's Sky. They listen and they say, oh, we changed the inventory, but a lot of people complained about it, so let's do supercharged slots or whatever. So they're more hands-on about doing that kind of stuff. So I think if they're going to do something, they're probably not going to not that they don't allow mods, but mods aren't a really big, not even close to as big as they are in Skyrim for No Man's Sky.
Why do you think the mods never took off for No Man's Sky like they have for other games? Is it just too difficult? Is it the developers aren't participating or helping with that like they do in other games?
I know that from my very limited knowledge, the fact that the game is updated as frequently as it is it breaks itself whenever they add a new feature and it breaks the game and they have bugs. Let alone if you have a mod and they update to a new version of the game or they change a shader, it breaks your mod. And people are like, look, I can't keep basically redoing this mod every 2 months. It's just too much work. Versus Skyrim,
I don't know.
Patch once every 6 months or a year.
Yeah, Arc updates every week though, and has a stupid amount of mods.
Yeah, but they have a whole pipeline built into that, whereas No Man's Sky doesn't really.
That's what I'm saying. It's because they have a dev kit and they get it out to modders and they try to help them to do it, whereas No Man's Sky doesn't do that, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and that's probably part of it. Yeah, is that they're more active with the modding community. But I mean, I would say mods would be probably more prevalent, more popular if they put out a No Man's Sky 2016 and then they never touched it. They just said, "Hey, if you guys want to fix it, go ahead. We're gonna patch in security updates or whatever, but we're not gonna really fix the game." Or that's kind of where Skyrim falls into. It's like, hey, yeah, we have a modding community and the tools are out there, but Bethesda encourages it, but they're not out there teaching you how to do it. They just let you go.
I just want mods, please.
Yeah.
Well, the people that I'm talking to, and I can only give it from a small people like Mistral, Rayrod TV, Silent Robot, Mr. Negative, who's a new modder. I agree totally with you two guys of what you're saying about modding. It is a nightmare. They are working on. Firstly, Rayrod TV is working on a way of bringing the E3 game back into the game without interfering with with it. I know that we're working on other mods, to be honest with you, that will be autonomous, that they can be done on it. It's just a little bit of code that needs to be done by Low Games to get those mods into the PS ends and to the Xboxes. It's not rocket science, as probably Moose will agree with me. It's just this continual updating, and the Leylaz has issues with the main mod itself and crashes with. It's the scripting, the Leylaz scripts. I hope I'm not talking geometrical size here. The Leylaz scripts the mod to work correctly, and it's normally the Leylaz, the LHA file, that creates great issues with the mod.
Yeah, I didn't understand any of that.
Right. Just leave it to me.
No,
that's why me and Kurt did the
I just
creature
want to
builder.
play. I just want to play gamey.
Of course you do. You wonderful 200,000 people that have all these wonderful people that watch you. You just want to play a game. You don't want all the right. But I can assure you that in the background, us modders and us teams of people are trying to get us deeper thinkers without sounding like I can see. Don't come up as a big brain, else you'll be shot down. We are trying to make things easier for people, but it is hard when the mods are not available or the structure hasn't been put into the PSNs and the Xboxes. But we are trying our best here. That's all I can say.
All we can do,
Awesome.
right?
Yeah.
So, what are we making of the tweet Friday?
Oh man, jumping into that,
Echoes.
I was super excited about it because I was like, oh, okay, they finally acknowledged that their 7th year anniversary. It's like, yes, finally. But then when that last part came up, it's like, well, we will continue, and then it's like No Man's Sky Echoes. I was like, oh, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. They're gonna have another update. I'm like, it's so close to StarField though, and it's like, what did marketing have in mind in terms of?
I had this small thought. What if, plot twist, since Bethesda and StarField, a lot of their inspiration came from No Man's Sky. What if Hello Games collaborated with Bethesda on StarField, and there's going to be some type of crossover,
Don't
like what
get
they
me
did
excited.
with Mass Effect?
Glad Jason isn't on camera right now.
Oh, Jesus. That would be the dream. I mean, thinking that the update's probably coming out this week, which is before StarField, they're probably not going to do that. But I would love that so much.
I mean, they did say that they did draw inspiration from No Man's Sky when making StarField. So, I mean, for all we know, there could have even been some communications between Hello Games and Bethesda.
Yeah.
So StarField could literally just be No Man's Sky 2, but undercover, made by Bethesda. You never know.
There you
No
go.
Man's Sky modded. Yes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the
Me and
best?
the boys are going to the grocery store. Dad and Tristan are staying here.
All right.
It's interesting though. What are we expecting from Echoes and the question marks that were put on there? I know there was a tweet that went out that because there was 2 question marks and then like maybe 2 brains at one time that we're gonna get No Man's Sky 2. And I saw Jason shut that mess down real quick. He's like, nah, it's not No Man's Sky 2.
Well, a lot of people. I mean, the only thing I go off of, and I try to take it to heart because I get hyped up too. I'm like, oh, I want. Sean Murray talks about their new game. It's gonna be another no, because he tried to come out and be as plain as possible in an interview. I think in 2021 with IGN, and I think it was December. He just said, we're working on another game, and of course the first reaction is, oh, is it No Man's Sky 2? And he said, no, it is not a sequel in any way, shape, or form to No Man's Sky. It is only on the same size as No Man's Sky, and that's all he said. So we know that it's. What does size mean? Is it like literal, like as big as No Man's Sky, like a million kajillion galaxies, or what is it procedurally? We don't know that, but we just know it's the same
It's just
size.
11 gigs, dude.
Yeah, it could be file size. Yeah, maybe it's only 11 gigs. So whenever anyone gets really hyped up for that, I try to because the biggest the biggest detractor from the original release of No Man's Sky was Sean Murray hyping it up, saying this is going to be Minecraft in space, and everyone was on that train for like 2 years before, and that thing went all the way up to the moon. And then when it released and it wasn't that, everyone just hated the game, and for good or for bad. But it was,
he was out of his league with that because he wasn't very good with PR.
Yeah.
And I think he was just kind of going with the flow of what the interviewers were asking him, and he just kind of,
He was just nodding and saying yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was trying to be nondescript. I don't want to spoil it, but by doing that, he wasn't direct either. He wasn't saying no, that's not it. He was saying, well, maybe, and that just opens the door. It's like, no, don't do no. And that's why I try to. No Man's Sky 2, no. And technically, I did a joke tweet the other day about that as well. I said, yeah, we got No Man's Sky 2. It was the next update in 2018 because it changed the game completely from the original release to what we have now.
Right.
I saw that.
Yeah. Hey, I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was in the tweets that suggested that Echoes is just going to be a replay of all the expeditions. How would that go over?
Bad.
I mean, isn't that kind of what we were asking for in previous months?
Well, yeah, to the Switch
but
players,
not when we think it's
probably
an
not
update.
bad. Yeah. Well, to the Switch players,
If
probably
that's
not
just
too
the
bad.
complete update, is just that. Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, many things
bad,
I
it would
could
go
say.
over very bad.
Yeah. Many things I could say about Hello Games, and many things I've heard analogize with the Hello Games. Well, the crux of the matter is the poor sods have had to suffer for the 7 years that they've done. They've had Moses and the 7 deadly sins rained upon them. They've had floods. They've had somebody threatening to bomb the offices because butterflies weren't in the E3 trailer. They've had a coder run off with the code. They've had pay issues. And I'm not making excuses. They've had Sony saying, well, you've got to release the game at a given specific time, even though it's not ready. So they released a beta test on us all. And the poor Sean Murray saying, do I really want to release another No Man's Sky with all that feedback and all that? It's, for instance, you'll probably agree with me. If Bethesda, I doubt whether they would do with, release a Bugfest on the 1st of September on pre-release day. If they released a Bugfest, I would think that Microsoft will blow a fuse as EA blew a fuse, as Disney blew a fuse with EA over Battlefront 2. It's the pressure and the constraints and the expectations we all have as individuals on games and our thought processes. But we don't think it through, as long as it's enjoyable for the audience and it's fun and therefore they get the perspective from it. Does it really matter as long as it gets there in the end? And as we can always say, the people that grind my teeth are these people that are still complaining to this day about No Man's Sky. All right, it would be good if they fixed the bugs, but it's free. Why are we complaining about a free game, a free updated game? All right, you buy the base game. Will Bethesda and StarField start doing one expansion after another expansion you have to pay for, or another get a Mars colony state of shooty weapon or another thing, and I'm going to have to pay $10 for it? Do you get what I'm trying to get at? It is just, where does it start, where does it finish?
I think that idea has been around for years, where we're trying to get people to stay calm about these issues when I lost my thought. Stay calm about the issues when they want something to work, and it's like, well, it's free. What do you expect? I mean, they've been doing this for years, and then eventually it'll get better. Which kind of sounds a little skittish, like Star Citizen. It's not a finished game in any way, but Star Citizen tends to be broken a little bit sometimes, and there are times where it does work. But
no, it's only broken a little bit sometimes, and the rest of the time it's broken a lot.
One of these days I'm going to jump into Star Citizen, and it'll be a glorious failure. It'll be amazing.
Oh yeah. It works. But I don't know, for when you talk about how long these things take and everything, I saw Bethesda saying that Starfield's 25 years in the making, and my first thought was, shit. So is God, the one we were just talking about,
Star Citizen.
Star Citizen. Yeah, I keep getting Starfield and Star Citizen stuck in my brain.
When I want to say, I mean, that is, I love that idea, but I want to say, just to defend Bethesda a little bit, because I know a lot of people throw a lot of shade on the Bugthesda, but they've had the idea for 25 years. I think Todd came out officially and he said, look, we didn't start working on this thing until 2014 or 2015, so technically it's only been a decade.
Well, it's nice to have the pockets to be able to do that and not have to take it out of your player base while you do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I'm looking forward to it. It's curious to see what that game is going to do to the rest of the games. Like, I feel like everybody's trying to push an update out real quick right before Starfield releases so it gets some attention, because I think the fear is nobody's going to get any attention in September.
Yeah, because it's all eyes right now on Starfield. They're like, okay, what is it going to do? Maybe we should go ahead and push this update a little bit over here, so that way, if they do flop, then we're ready to push. But if not, we'll kind of wait until like maybe October or November. That's all.
They actually spoke about this in my recent video. Do you guys think that when Starfield drops, do you think the No Man's Sky player base is going to go straight down and then everyone's going to jump onto Starfield, or do you think people will still stay loyal to No Man's Sky?
I honestly think people are going to stay loyal to No Man's Sky, because we're only having 2 platforms, which is just Xbox and PC, versus the multiple platforms that No Man's Sky has. So, no, I definitely think they'll stay loyal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it as a loyalty thing. I mean, we're all explorers at heart.
Yeah,
I think if you're a No Man's Sky player, and there's nothing wrong with exploring another game. I don't think. I think a lot of us are going to jump into it because we want to see what it is. But it doesn't mean we don't care any. It doesn't mean we care less about No Man's Sky. But it gives us, another universe to explore. And honestly, this one's a little bit. It sounds like it's going to be limited, but it's got some pretty deep limits, before we hit the edge. And I think to me, No Man's Sky is one of those games like Minecraft or that I always go back to. And ever since I started playing it, I put a ton of hours in. But at this point, I like coming back for the updates, and I enjoy spending a lot of time in them in the updates. But I've got to explore some other stuff in between that, and I'm not gonna give it up at all. But like I said, I want to explore.
Yeah. Well, and from my own experience with No Man's Sky and the community, everyone bounces on and off No Man's Sky. I mean, you can look up the Steam charts right now, and you see a month, like in April, they had record number of people playing, brand new update, and then the following month drops back down again. So people they pop in because the contents are, the content updates are never like super massive 30-hour campaign stuff. It's always like, ooh, this is a cool like little thing we can play with for a couple of weeks, and then I'm gonna bounce off and play some Elite Dangerous. I want to play some Star Citizen, and I'll come back when the update comes back out. So I think that's generally what we're gonna see. The big question is, for me, with Echoes, this update is coming out like right next to it. Is that gonna hurt the update? Because a lot of people are like, I'm interested, but I also want to play StarField, and there's only so many hours in the day right now.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point. I didn't think about that.
What I think is going to make her... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's all about community. It's all about the wondrous things that Jason does and Survival Bob do and Moose does. I mean, and Professor Cynical. It's all about the community that game going, and that's what will keep StarField going. It doesn't matter whether you got 200. I've had many conversations with not as many with Survival, but with Professor Cynical, with Moose, and with Jason, and they do incredible work. Moose, from his perspective, plays one game and then he goes on to another because of his time schedule, and he would like more, but he's not bothered one way or the other. And Jason just does a wonderful job of engaging with his audience when he got the time. He's got some wonderful modders, and he brings his human aspect to things. And I know Survival, you go from you play No Man's Sky, and you go to another game, and you go to another game, but you're no one's leaving your player base or your subscribers. They love you as they love the person you are. You shine for the person you are, and therefore that is the good thing. And all of us, it doesn't matter whether you've got 1,000 subscribers or whether you've got 200,000 subscribers. You are doing something positive for the community, and you're giving back to the community.
I think community has to be a big part of it, but for a game developer, having people love your game and play your game doesn't make you any money after they purchase it. And so that's why I think we've seen No Man's Sky continue to expand and grow and go on to new platforms, as they haven't released anything else. And honestly, I mean, we got to be honest. They're a business. They've got to keep paying their employees. Sure, they made a ton of money on the upfront, but at some point, that wears thin. And so they've got to sell new copies of it, and they keep giving us free updates, as we've talked about. And it's a tough balance in the business world between your community who loves you and all of that, and bringing in new people in, because you've got to. And I think we've seen a lot of that in recent years, and some of it's made some of the older community mad, and some of it hasn't. But the whole drive has been to bring in new players and a new player base, to continue that revenue stream so that they can continue to do what they do, which we want them to do. Which is why I haven't been opposed to, I try to support Hello Games however I can. I buy
merch store.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a closet full of merch. It's crazy.
They could do us so much more merch. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, and they need to give us creators a little code, and we would pimp the crap out of that. I know. I mean, we do 100%. Anyway. But if they incented creators, to do it, I think they could do a lot more. But it's insignificant in relation to how much they make from selling copies of the game, right? Yeah. So that's obviously their focus.
And I think along those same lines, I think, like you said, that's probably why we saw a Switch version come out, a Mac version come out, a Now it's a PSVR 2 version because it's not backwards compatible. And I think that's also a double-edged sword because they know they're probably 7 years on and they haven't made another game, and they're depending on these new sales. They're probably feeling the pinch now, and they're like, okay, look, we gotta expand out a little bit, and how do we do that? We'll put it on a different platform. We'll squeeze it onto a Switch, and with that comes the, oh crap, now we have to bug test not just an Xbox, not just a PlayStation, not just a Switch, not just the Mac, and it's like, oh my, how do you bug test and get a handle on this stuff? And we're starting to see a little bit of fraying on the edges of more bugs than normal than I'm normally used to seeing. We're getting a lot more bugs now than we were 2 years ago or a year ago.
Yep.
And also, maybe this could be different, but because we never hear from them, I can't verify it. But when the expeditions came out 2 years ago, it was update with an expedition, update with an expedition. And now it is, hey, there's an expedition on its own, and we'll do an update later on. It feels like they're trying to space out the content. Yeah, because they are like, look, we don't have the manpower, we don't have the capacity to do both because it's a lot of work, so we need to separate it out and basically ease up the workload.
Yeah.
Spreading themselves too thin.
I agree with, I'm reading the comments here too, and Silence talking about modding has proven engagement with gaming as well, and it helps keep it growing, and I agree with that completely. That I think bringing it back to the earlier conversation, that if they did open it up, if Hello Games worked directly with modders and gave them a dev kit and helped them, then it would increase the player base and it would give it more longevity.
100%. Well, and I think it would also give them breathing room because they wouldn't have to keep up content at a regular pace because the player base kind of thins out and then comes back.
Right.
You can have mods and keep it there.
And I've been playing a lot of Space Engineers lately, which is a 10-year-old game. They just went on PlayStation like a month ago.
I saw
and they've been out for 10 years, but they've been modded extensively, and they have a huge community of modders. And a lot of Space Engineers and Ark, which are two games that I'm playing currently, both have taken mods and made them part of the base game. So they're basically letting their player base direct what they want, and when they have something really good, they stick it in the game. And basically allowing them to develop a forum at really no cost. So I wish, and maybe it's a back end thing that keeps No Man's Sky from being able to do that, but I would love to be able to see that, because we talk about how much the community supports the game and how much they listen to the community, and they do. But if they could actually see in action what we were talking about in a modded version and see it work, I think they'd be a lot more likely to take some of those things and stick them into the real game.
Yeah, or get some of the community like Bethesda's done. Get some of the community that does all that work and say, hey, we'd love for you to work with us because you do some awesome stuff.
Yeah, and I know some of these other companies too. They've done contests and they've hired the modders and made them partners and stuff like that, so that they get some financial support and incentive to do it as well, just like you're saying.
Exactly. And I do want to point out, Saz did correct me. Last Campfire was the most recent game Hello Games released. I totally forgot about Last Campfire. So yes, it did put out Last Campfire a few years ago. I played it, and
I played it for one day.
Forgot about it. I think I finished it, but it was just in and out. And then No Man's Sky update comes out, so move on to that.
Right.
Yeah, and they had one update for Last Campfire where it added more puzzles.
Oh.
Dang it, I need to go back and play that.
I actually need to buy it and play it.
What? How dare you?
How dare
not have bought it already?
Did you gentlemen know there's another Sky game out that's very rarely talked about on the PC?
What are we talking about?
It's
Are you talking
called
about Warfight?
Imperium Galactic Survivor.
Oh yeah, I played that.
I've tried to get into it for 4 or 5 years now. Ever since I got into No Man's Sky, somebody, I think I had a subscriber give it to me, and they wanted me to play it, and I tried. I have seriously tried, but I just cannot get into it. Something about the UI, Something about
the
way you
that's
interact
right.
with it, it breaks immersion for me, and it's just not like it.
Yeah.
It seems like a really cool game when you start getting into it. Like, okay, I have this bike to get me around the landscape easier. Then I have to do these specific missions, go to these locations, and it eventually gets to a point where you can start building your own your hovercraft. You can start building your own ship. You can start building your own base from scratch, having artillery to turrets up, because you do get attacked from like an enemy force that's specifically on your planet, and it's a really cool aspect voxel-wise. I think that's the same route that Dual Universe took as well. And then eventually, if you're not in with a group of people to kind of get that going, it's just you and the solo game, and then after a while, it just kind of gets a little boring. That's how,
They have updated. They have updated it, and it's only I think it's about 15 British pounds. I can always work to a Brit, and I know for a fact that Space Engineer was based on it, and some of the team from that did go over to work on Space Engineer. But
Wow, is Imperium more than 10 years old?
Yeah, it's
wow.
quite. I can. Yeah, it's a very, very old game, and
I didn't know
continually
that.
working on it.
It should be better than.
It should be better than. It's just that. Oh, sorry, my cats are.
Because they just started giving updates to Imperion. I was like, wait, what? But it didn't look better. They just put in a few more enemies and then made it a little bit harder for you during the beginning to get all the things you need. The last time I played.
I haven't played in probably a year or two, but yeah, I'm watching the updates because I love the concept, and I think a lot of us are. And you see a lot of games where they have the exploration, they have the building, they have the factions, they have the economy, they have they try to put all these pieces in, and we want everything, right? And I think that's what a lot of us are hoping StarField's going to be, but we know it's going to have limits, just like everything does. And some games just go further in different directions, like No Man's Sky with the exploration and the vastness of it. And honestly, I think they do a pretty good job with the building. I'd love to see it better, but the building aspect of it is nice. But then you got games where you can build your own ships, and we're just trying to get them to let us change the colors, and maybe let the colors stick on our freighters once we do change them.
Right.
So I think that's what makes me go other places, is because I want it all, right? I love the exploration, and that's kept me involved with No Man's Sky, and I love the wonder and feeling of finding someplace new for the first time that nobody's ever found, and naming a planet "Suck It, Jason" for everybody to see. But sometimes I want to go build something. Like I want to go build something that I can fly and crash and break and fix. And so that's what's kept me moving around. But as I play Space Engineers, and I'm doing that right now, I miss the exploration because it's a finite solar system that you're playing in. So you're not seeing anything new. The map is the same every time. So it's that, and I think that's what people wanted Imperion to be, and that's what they're trying to do, but it's just taking forever. And maybe we're just not there yet technologically.
That's a good question I see in the chat. Are you still looking for 99 problems?
Yes.
Okay, because
I'm
I
not
know that someone
for
modded it.
Yeah, so I've had people make it. So for those of you who don't know, I started playing on Xbox and then moved over to PC. And before I started recording on PC, I had a save and had an orange gull wing that had the 99 on the 99 on the side of it, and I called it 99 Problems, and it was my favorite ship. And then that became my main save. I just used it for tutorials. I never did a playthrough on it, and I deleted it by accident doing speed runs a couple years ago, because you just start getting in this habit. And I told you I'd done it, and you did it 2 years later.
I think we're all guilty of that. We are all guilty of that.
Yes.
So I deleted my legacy save back when we only had 3 slots. And so I put a contest out to see if anybody can find 99 problems. Then I would make a video saying whatever they want me to say, literally. So I know Jason spent a Christmas looking for it.
Dude, I spent a week solid looking for that dang thing. I've never seen so many Xbox bases in my life, dude. I was going through every video you were doing, and I was looking for that split second where you brought up the photo mode so I could see the glyphs. Oh, it was terrible.
No, I knew it wasn't there because I didn't record on that save. So, I mean, I didn't record, my process. I just recorded like tutorials and stuff.
Oh, dude, it was. If you want to know the insanity of that whole week, it was me checking for your glyphs on any video in that time frame, and then going there and then checking every system around it to see if you found that system. Like I would literally I would warp in. If it was found by Survival Bob, I would check the date and see what time you found it, and then kind of map out where you were. It was dumb.
I told you he was a stalker.
There was a couple people that was with Bob during the time that he had 99 problems, and I kind of the same thing. I went to any system that either he or those people discovered, and like Silent said. I think he's done over 200 systems around that area. I think I'm pretty close to that too. There's a whole lot of visited systems when I look at the galactic map there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But
we never found it.
I'm gonna chalk it up to we had the living ship update that changed all the spawns of ships, and that broke everything. So we're never gonna find it again.
It's possible, but I even went back to playing. Next on the Xbox because that's
you went back? See, I haven't done that.
Yeah. So you just put the disc in and play disc only, and that's it. You play Next, and I got there and I searched in Next on OC Rick, and still haven't found it there. So I started searching around in other systems. Like I said, still looking for it. At least once I find it, even on an older version, we could see if it may spawn in the newer version, but it may not.
Well, I appreciate everybody looking for it, and it's cool that it's kind of stayed alive. It's been 2 years now, and I think it was summer 2 years ago that I put that video out. But I think that shows a couple things. One, how awesome the community is, first, but also that these challenges and these things are what a lot of us are using to stay engaged in No Man's Sky.
Is that a...
And
sorry, I just saw like a freighter just magically come through.
Yes, a ship.
There you go.
It looks like a ship or a freighter. That was a ship.
That was a frigate for sure. Oh.
Kind of flew through the Bob across.
So, Bob, what happened to you? What platform was it that happened to you on?
What happened to what?
Your lost save. You lost. You save, Bob.
Oh, I just deleted it. It was gone. I was doing speed runs, and I would, back when we only had 3 saves, I would, if I failed on the speed run or I realized I was about to, I would quit and delete the save and then do it again. And I just got in a habit of doing that, and then I accidentally quit before I had made a save in the speed run, so it grabbed the next one on top, which was my legacy save, and it was gone.
Oh man,
I did the same thing, and I have the privilege of everyone who watched me doing it telling me that I did it. I was able to go back and see the moment of my stupidity. It was great.
Everybody's screaming at you with the
no, not even in the chat. I'm gonna blame all of you in the chat. You did not tell me at the time. I could have saved it if you told me. No, they waited 3 weeks to tell me, so I was way too far away. I couldn't go back and get it.
I think you noticed in 3 weeks.
Because we were doing you normally, like me, Zane, we all do speed runs, and we do it for the entire thing. So I wasn't even playing my main save. I was doing speed runs every day on stream, so I didn't even care until the expedition was over. And then once the expedition is over, I'm like, oh, I'll go back and play my where's my main save at? Oh no!
That happened to me 3 times.
No, I realized immediately, and then I cried myself to sleep, I think.
So, Bob, was it on the PC or was it on the console?
It was on PC. It was on PC.
Was it?
And
Yeah.
you didn't use the Gold Fungus save editor.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true. You could have got it back.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Mm.
I didn't know that at the time.
At the time, yeah, you don't
You
know
see,
that because I did the same thing.
when you and the save editor, when you save changes, not
Yeah, see,
save.
I never used save editor because I didn't
save.
want to be cheaty. I haven't.
Ah.
It wasn't until the last year that I actually used save editor.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well-
save editor isn't cheating. It enables you to do some really good stuff. All right. Let's just put this out there. All right.
Professor Cynical, do you know that there's a menu in the game now that lets you just turn off all the prices?
It's like when I get the comments in the,
Yes.
the comment section, like actually the easiest way to do nanites is this. I'm like, no, actually the easiest way to do nanites is save editor. But
Yes.
I am not the head of any movement. I promise.
no, okay, all right.
Well, and Bob, just for future reference, you don't even have to use save editor. Literally, Steam will save. I think it's the last 2 weeks of all of your saves if you upload to the
Yes.
cloud.
Uh-huh.
So you
Yeah,
can
no,
go back.
believe me, now that I've done it, I know lots of ways to not do it again.
So I'm in the same exact boat. I had so many people telling me, "Oh yeah, you could just do this." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
where were
yeah,
you
yeah,
3
that
weeks
would've-
ago?"
That would have been useful
At
at
this
the time.
moment, he knew he effed up.
Exactly.
Uh,
Man.
But anyway, so just to hit off of that one more time. I personally, I don't think there is cheating in a game, especially one that's mainly single player. Unless you're talking about PvP stuff, I don't think there's cheating. I think there's different play styles, and people should play however they want. And I get bent out of shape when people tell me I'm not playing right or other people aren't playing right. I play what makes me enjoy it.
Exactly.
You know, that's why we give ourselves
100%.
challenges, you know,
Yes.
and give ourselves no HUD and do things differently just to try to do it a different way. And I don't see it as any differently, you know. So I always like to put that out there whenever I can, that, you know, if you think that there's one way to play a game, then the problem's with you.
Right.
Yeah. 100%. And whenever it comes up, I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, if you want to do this, you're totally fine. If you're not comfortable, that's okay too. I don't care. Because I 100% agree with you. If it's not PvP, if it's not competitive, in my mind, that's not cheating. That's playing the way you want to play. Sure, if you're playing Call of Duty multiplayer, competitive, MLG, yes,
Right.
there's
And
rules
you're
on
using
that.
aimbot. Right.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Oh man.
But-
Been watching those
Yeah.
videos. I can't believe people do that. Like,
Oh, you use
geez.
aimbots?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like just,
No, it's insane.
just play the game. Just get better.
People's identity gets tied to this stuff, man. I mean, I
Yep.
see that in the art community, like winning and all of that. It becomes part of who they are, and they've invested so much time in it. You know, you gotta know what's fun and what's a game and what's real. And I know we're all guilty of falling into things probably deeper than we should, but
Oh yeah.
you know, you gotta keep a healthy balance in there. And it's a game. This is for fun. This is for entertainment. And that's what I try to remind myself.
Agreed,
When I-
Bob. I mean, Barbara Blaze, the wisest of the wise, very underrated lady. She says, who's the leader, the acting leader of the Helpers Party. She basically says that the game is about fun. And if Sean Murray wanted this particular thing to be done in this particular way, he wouldn't have given us expansions and facilities to do all these things. And, you know, it shouldn't, you know, as long as it's not doing any derogativeness to another player, a malicious player, and you'll always get the malicious so-and-sos, and I could go on all day. But there are, you know, and I will touch on this while we're all touching on the subject. Our poor professor has had to suffer recently by some of these people. I am not going to mention names, but they know who they are if they're watching this stream. And all the good professor's done is he released a couple of videos, and some people didn't like them. Therefore, the poor professors had to suffer consequences of this. I think you know what I'm talking about. And why do we have to do this when we're having fun? and we're having a community. We're working together, hopefully, as a whole community on doing this. Do they get the kicks from Route 66 or something else? I don't think so. I think it shows them for what they are. You know, we are here for the community. As long as there's many things that the Professor knows that we are the Helpers Party have experimented on and not released to the community because we know it could be weaponized. We don't want to weaponize the game. We don't want things to be moved around. Pierre's watching the conversation. He'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well,
we don't do it.
I think a lot, and I don't know what you're talking about exactly, to be honest with you, and it doesn't matter to me. But like my friend Hawks, he makes a lot of Star Citizen, but y'all know Hawks. He makes No Man's Sky videos. Hawks Gaming, but he makes videos on all the exploits in Star Citizen that harm people, just to get it in front of the devs faster, so it gets fixed. And sure, people go out and they exploit it, but then it gets fixed a lot faster.
Right.
From that standpoint, so you know, it's interesting. I don't know, just the way people act on certain things, and again, it all comes down to people taking it too seriously and not realizing it's a game and we're here to have fun. And in my opinion, anyway. So.
It's always tricky, especially like with bugs and glitches and whatnot. You're trying to get this stuff sorted, and sometimes it just unfortunately ruffles the wrong feathers in some people, and you're never going to 100% get people that aren't going to agree with everything that you do. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. Everyone agrees with me 100% of the time. Come on, Professor.
Suck it, Jason.
Yeah. That is my greatest gift to this community, is to suck it, Jason.
I love that there is a sticker out there or an emoji. That is amazing.
Yes. I
Wait,
will buy
there's an
an
emoji?
Yes. I think
Oh,
Beeblebum has it. Do you have it, Professor?
No, I don't have it.
Everyone needs to have it.
I need it, for sure.
Yes. You need to get it too. Oh, we're going to talk to Beeblebum. Yeah, I know he has it.
I'll have it. I'm working on my own emojis with those pictures you dropped in
because-
chat the other day.
Yes.
There's going to be some
Did you
fun
put it on
Jason
your truck?
emojis. I did put one on my truck, and then I flipped my truck over.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you were like, oh my god, you were like freaked out on the side as it was sitting on your face. It was perfect.
I love it. So, well, what is everyone, starting with you, what do you think the Echo update is going to be? Or
Yeah.
realistically, what do you think it could be, and what do you want it to be?
Okay, so realistically, what I do want it to be is just full-on Part 3, kind of just leading us a little bit closer to what this story is actually going to end up being in Part 4. What I want it to be is just this overhaul of stuff that's going to completely change the fabric of No Man's Sky and how we're going to see it, because we're diving deep into this rabbit hole blindly, and this is the opportunity to say, okay, something's really happening in the universe, which is changing us, like, dramatically. So how are we gonna save the universe, or do we need to help out the Atlas, or do we need to do this other thing, or even the Void Mother coming up? But realistically, yeah, I'm just waiting to see what else they have for Part 3.
But what does changing dramatically mean? Does it, like, totally revamp worlds? Does it revamp characters? What does that mean?
So, for one, adding a new faction. And then two, maybe introducing... Actually, I want to say the new ship thing is something like they commonly do at this point. So it would be nice to have a different kind of ship. We do have the Sentinel ship, so maybe that's asking for a little too much in this update. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So, new faction. Maybe the space stations change. Like, maybe some are active and then some become inactive due to a recent event that comes. So I think that's something else I want to bring up, is events. Timed events where you're maybe just flying, you're going to the space station doing your regular thing, all of a sudden, bam, the space station just goes red. All of a sudden it just gets attacked. There's a big space battle outside, and you don't know what's going on up until you can't fly anymore. You can't take the portal, you're stranded. And then after a certain amount of time, everything kicks back on, and then you're able to leave. But there's traces left of what happened. Maybe wrecks. Maybe some clues you need to find in order for it to build up this specific point where you're going to find out what is causing all of this major trouble.
As I'm ready for you to go work for Hello Games and direct their creative team.
That is freaking. I didn't even think about that. Having something like you get locked into the space station and there's a huge battle, and you could even, I mean, this might be way too far out there, but having it to where you're stuck in a space station for 2 or 3 minutes. But during that time, it's loading an entirely different system out there, so you don't even recognize what it is on the outside. That would be amazing.
Exactly. And it's all random. You never know when it's going to happen. And it's just an echo of what happened that you need to start looking for the traces.
All right. So when do you start working at No Man's or at Hello Games?
Hey.
We're going to Guildford. I'm organising the virtual meetup for Captain Steve, Beetlebum, Scottish of the Rods, Ricey, and all the Katrina W and all the. Well, it's a shame that Survival and Jason won't be there, and Moose and Professor Cynical. But you can be there in the virtual meetup in Discord, and you, Azwath, I'm. Sorry, I get names wrong. Azwath. Be there at the virtual meetup that I'm organising on a laptop on the Discord channel, and say hi to everyone if you wish to do. But I can pass a note, Azwath, if you want to go on the development team. I don't say anybody will listen to you. I'll post you through the letterbox if you want.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cynical, what do you think?
Bob?
I was going
What do
to see. See, I was trying to pass it to somebody else.
No, but it's you call you out. What do you think it's going to be, realistically, and what you would want?
All right, so those are two totally different things.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't given them a lot of thought, but just based on the fact of everything else that's going on with StarField being released in September and what No Man's Sky has been doing, or what Hello Games has been doing with No Man's Sky the last few months, I wouldn't be surprised, especially because of the announcement being the way it was different. It wasn't just a single emoji, it was just tacked onto the end of the list. That it's not going to be as big as we think, first of all, or as we want. Of course, it never is.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. But I mean, I could see them making a good case for re-releasing all the expeditions, and calling that Echoes, because it's something we've already done, or some of us have already done, because it'll give people something to do, but it doesn't waste a big content update right before people stop paying attention because they're going somewhere else for a couple weeks at least. So what I want is them to continue the storyline that they started with the station override, and maybe even before that. I want to know where that goes still. And I want multi-cruise ships and pirate mermaids.
Oh, multi-cruise ships.
Multi-cruise ships,
Ooh.
we have those. Those are freighters.
Those aren't multi-cruise ships. You can't even pilot the freighter. You just tell it where to go.
Yes, you can. You can tell it where to go.
No. I want to smash it into something.
Would be
What you like.
smash it into a station and make it into an abandoned space station.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
what about being able to take over a space station or build in space? I think that would be epic.
Oh, yeah. When are we? It doesn't have to be like an economy-sized space station. It could just be something that we can call home in space. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I can say is we have done a bit of digging in the code, and we actually have found a new robot.
Oh, really?
Which you can now put on the PC on your, which I can show you how to do it. You could do a video on it if you want. I've not done it on the video just because I didn't want the speculation bandwagon and say, but you can put this robot, and it's the robot that you become with bits from the last expeditions, but it's got cloaks on it, and it's got a metal spear on it, and it's actually in the code as we speak now. Now, whether that's going to come in this expedition, I'm not going to speculate because I'm not a speculator, but it's there and it's in the code and it's been updated recently, and it's got a cylindrical head with lights on. I may have a picture of it somewhere. And it's got a spear, metal spear, not a pointy spear, but just a blunt spear, and this cloak around it, and it looks like the thing. So if they were going to put it into the game, there's a good chance in one of the expeditions that are coming up that they're going to put it into the game. But if you guys want to know how to do it and you've got a PC, I can easily take you through it.
It's interesting to me how much they have in there that they haven't implemented.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we still don't have the flamethrower. You know?
Yeah, this would have been a good time to have it.
It's still actually in the files too. That
I know.
Did not remove. It's still there.
I know. That's what I'm saying. There's stuff in there that
unlike the space station Type B, they actually removed that and the models. The models are no longer in there either.
Yeah.
And that actually it makes me think that they're testing all this stuff, and there's just things like I believe you can find it over on Reddit. For the next update, there was some kind of a ship customizer. It was just for colors on your ship, but it was in the files, and they removed that eventually. It makes me think that they go through, they test this stuff because they hear us asking for it constantly, and then they go through, they look at it, and they go, you know what? It either breaks the game or it doesn't work, and it's just not worth the time right now. Maybe later on we'll come back to it.
Maybe, yeah.
So, Jason, what do you think it is? Have you made a speculation video? I unsubscribed.
I'm probably
to your
going to
channel
do
already.
that today. Got to do that. Have to do that. But for me, realistically, I think it's definitely like Saz is saying in the chat. It's probably going to be connected to the echoes that we were all collecting in the expedition over the summer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, I think it's going to be more lore, and I'm hoping that it's an update as well as an expedition, a brand new expedition to go do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just going to be more in the lines of that. It's going to be, hey, go here, check this out. There's going to be maybe they take the robot that we built in the last expedition and they kind of modify it, and so now we're doing missions for them or something like that.
I ain't working for no robot.
What?
I ain't working for no robot.
Mm-hmm.
You work for me. Said I'm a robot, right?
I said you're a tool, not a robot. That's different.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm a dang kid. But my high hopes, like my wish list, would be they implement the new space stations. They make, and not just the outside, the exterior look cool. They revamp the interior. And so we have more space because they made ships larger, but they didn't adjust the landing pads or anything like that. So they finally get around to doing the interior. And so it's larger. There's actually sections instead of just having the whole like nanite marketplace on the left and then the regular side on the right with the charts and everything. You actually have different areas to go to. And so you can go in and go, okay, there's the exosuit area where you can upgrade your suit, you can buy the upgrades, and it's a whole, like, I don't want to say a tent, but like an area for it, not just one little shop front. But because they do that, they can also implement ship customization. And I know everyone gets upset, or at least the ship hunters do, but what if they just did colors and decals? So you cannot change out the wings or the cockpit or anything like that. You can just change the colors, pick your fighter, make it all orange, and then slap a 99 on it. And so you're not changing the overall ship, you're just changing the colors and the decals on it.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, maybe, and this is probably more feasible, upgrade the multi-tool station to let us destroy old multi-tools and get the pieces from it, so we can just, I don't know how many saves I have, that I have 6 multi-tools and I only use 2.
Right.
I can't get rid of the other 4 because
Right.
they won't let you. Let me destroy those, and just like what we do with the scrapping ships, you just get pieces that you can sell and make money from.
Right.
Oh,
That's what I would hope. That's what I would hope.
Well, they did say that. Didn't they say on the last one that this was part of a 4-part story or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
they didn't say this one specifically. They just said the last update was 2 out of 4. So we're
2 out
all
of 4.
assuming this is going to be part of it. I mean, I think it's a high likelihood that it's
Right.
going to be part 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
And the last 2 were expeditions, right?
Yes.
Oh,
So-
Yeah.
So why hold off on 3 then? What are they waiting for that? Or is it just taking longer
Maybe-
to do?
It
What
could
if
be.
this 4-part story is the end of No Man's Sky? They have an ARG going, and they're announcing their next game.
Well,
Maybe.
he did
Just
say at the end of his.
speculation.
He said at the end of his. Shut the hell up! No, I'm just kidding. He said at the end of his tweet, he said, the same thing he always does is the journey continues, and you'd think there'd be some warning, or at least they'd stop saying the journey continues leading up to it. At
Well,
least
the
I would-
journey still continue. This is a 3 out of 4, so we still got
Yeah.
at least one more.
continues till you smack into a wall.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't think they're going to do that. I think
This is what's wrong with all you hype video guys.
whenever their new game comes out, they'll probably move on to that, but they're always going to support No Man's Sky in some way. I think that the updates will definitely scale back. I also think that's why they implemented expeditions, because it's probably an
100%.
easy way to say,
Yeah.
hey, look, we have another game, but we have a group of 2 or 3 guys that every couple of months or every 3 months or whatever, they make a new expedition, and they're just constantly new expeditions, whereas there's not as much updates content-wise.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that was their goal, honestly, probably. And then they realized that they had to keep creating story and new stuff to make the expeditions different. Because if you remember the first expedition, we did everything there was to do. And lately, the expeditions have been just about the new stuff in the game.
Mhm.
It's just been featuring whatever the new thing is in the game. So
I think
just giving
Yeah.
us a quest that's not tied to anything new, I think, is difficult to continue on for a long time.
Unless you do a replay constantly of, in January, we always get Expedition 3. In March, we always get Expedition 7.
Yeah.
And they just slap on new rewards every time. Like, hey, this time you get a cool alien multi-tool.
Yeah. I do not want you working for No Man's Sky marketing team.
There you
So,
go. See, that's my
doing it.
anti-job application.
Keep doing what you're doing. You keep your yeah. Don't quit your day job.
so.
But
So-
well, guys, I gotta run. It's 1:30 where I'm at, and lunch is getting cold on the table for me, and my family's waiting for me. But thank you so much for having me on,
yeah,
and
definitely.
enjoy
Yeah,
talking to everybody.
Heck yeah.
Sir.
Bob.
Thank you, Survival Bob. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you for hanging out, man.
Thanks, Bob. I've found the pictures. I've put them into the lobby of the 2 robots.
Cool.
So,
If anybody's interested
The,
in seeing them.
so the title echoes. Well, we already have echoes in the game, and I don't mean from
Yeah.
the expedition it just passed. We have the Korvax echoes. And the Korvax echoes, as you look in, when you read the lore, says it tells of a time long ago when monoliths of the Atlas woke the civilization of the Outer Edge. Their presence filled them with desire for knowledge. From these beginnings, empires were born and spoke out and fell silent once more. An eternity that cannot be quantified passed. So, we already know that there's the Atlantid. Is this the entities that came from the Outer Edge? These echoes that we're finding, are we awaking that Outer Edge again? So I'm hoping that this next expedition is going to drive more into the base lore of the game that we have. The past expeditions have actually drawn into the base lore. I mean, look at the Sentinel expedition. We got Laylaps. Laylaps was from the base lore. So I'm hoping that each one of these is going to continue to bring out more of the base lore. And then eventually, Ariadne. We all know that something happened to Ariadne. Well, when you go to hack a Sentinel pillar, the override code is Ariadne. So, again, we've kind of already seen somewhat where Ariadne is. But I'm hoping that with these next 2 expeditions or next 2 updates, it's going to tie more of that in to give us the full story.
Yeah, because Typo was ironically, Typo was in your chat before, Moose, and he put a 3-hour video on you about the speculation, and he was saying Echoes has been out for years and years and years as the part of the Kovacs things. I mean, I delve into the lore when I possibly can do, but there's so much information in No Man's Sky that thinking about Typo was saying, well, it's already been there, Miyogi. Why haven't people realised? I think he did a 3-hour rant video. I said to Typo, I said, I think I'm going to watch 3 hours. You got the thing coming. But what I'm saying is, these wise people have already seen this, and as you quite rightly said, they're bringing things out of the lore, and Captain Steve's touched upon it as well, that are bringing the game to a climax or fruition and digging into the past, whether it's old content. So, but just to let you know, I did drop in the lobby if anybody wants to have a look at it. Put the pictures of the 2 robots on the command deck that you can both have on your command deck.
I think I did see that.
Yeah, it's in your lobby. The first one is the actual the guy with the spear that stood where that I was talking about. If that's on the right hand side is a guy I was with. That's what it looks like with the skeleton framework. But on the left hand side is the robot that is in the files, with the spear and the cloak and the lit up head, which is completely different than what you are, because you haven't got the lights on your head at all, to be honest with you. So you can actually bring that into the game with a very simple code into using Goat Fungus Editor and have all your bridge crew of that robot. So why they put it in if they're not going to use that template? But they've not used the activation codes, the chits for activating your ships, your space stations, making those. How long has that gone on for? There's a lot of things that they're buried in, but it's pretty concurrent, that robot. And also in the second picture is the other robot that we don't know about, that you can have that as bridge crew as well.
I think I.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, I think they act like the NPCs. They don't. They just skins and models of them. They just replace the actual bridge crew, so they act like the bridge crew.
Oh, okay. I thought it was related to this video I saw on Twitter, where it was just the robot that was on the space anomaly during the expedition was just roaming around your freighter.
Well, there has been a few glitches on Katrina W. She spotted one on her freighter that just was roaming around for no apparent reason. One of the ones on the right-hand side, but on the left-hand side, no one's seen that. That, to my knowledge, is a new robot. And I must give credit where credit's due. It was Mr. Negative that found it, and Mr. Silent Robot was in at the time when we pulled it in to get into the game, and I was amazed by it, because obviously it means that you can have bridge crew to whatever you want. With the code, that with the simple re-instruction of looking for this model, you can simply get this robot. You can get this robot, or all Kovacs, or all Artemis, or whatever you want. I could go on all day as bridge crew if you want.
That'd be kind of cool. That makes me feel kind of sad for Artemis.
Yeah.
Well, truth be told, for those that don't know, when I've been playing in VR, I showed this. No matter what you do with Artemis, Artemis is always in that tube. Even before you meet Artemis in the very beginning, Artemis is still in that tube. Yeah. With the VR headset, you can kind of step out of your bounds and actually look through walls, and Artemis is still in the tube.
Wow.
No matter what you do.
I think it's just your Artemis. My Artemis is not there.
Well, let me come into your game, Jason, and I'll show you he's still there.
Dang it!
I couldn't lie to Artemis. Like, I tried, and it's like, hey, how you doing? When are we gonna meet? I'm like, soon. I'm very busy. And then it just kept coming up after that one time. I was like, oh my god, I hope he doesn't keep doing that, because then I was like, maybe I should have killed him.
Yeah, that would be something that I would like to see as well. They've added different modes to the game. You know, they added the relaxed mode. It would be nice to see if they could add like a true free mode where you don't have to follow any story quests. You don't have to do the Atlas mission. You don't have to do the Artemis mission. It's just load into the world, survive, explore. No missions.
I want to go the opposite way. I want them to release the stats so I can know how many of you crazy people are murderers out there.
I don't know. Jason, how long have you... I've never asked this question. How long have you been playing No Man's Sky for?
Oh, for me, I mean, if you want my game time, I'm at 1,700 hours on Steam and another 800 on Xbox. But in real life, like time, I've been playing since June or July of 2018. So
2018.
5 years.
Yeah, and what about you, Azarath?
I started in 2019, so it's been about 4 years for me.
4 years, right? So young pups. You see, Moose and myself have been since the day. But what I was, there was a point in No Man's Sky, and some people will remember this, that if you played the story quest out and you killed Artemis, Moose will know what I'm talking about. You destroyed it. The Artemis quest finished. It terminated.
Ooh.
Do you remember that, Moose?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and you couldn't progress along it. That was the end of it. If you were vicious through and through, that was the end of your times within No Man's Sky and the Artemis quest. So you couldn't jump galaxies. Well, you could jump galaxies, but we did in the dim dark days of where you had to use portals and speeders and jump find a portal, and it was a nightmare. We did 30 galaxies in 6.5, 7 years ago. Me and Wizard. So it was painful. It was like pulling teeth, to be honest with you. So, but it has been made a lot easier, hasn't it, Moose?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to travel now. I mean, I remember back during Atlas Rises, you couldn't build a base on the opposite side of a portal. No, couldn't do that. You had to go back through the portal. So
back in my day, you couldn't call in your ship. You had to walk all the way back to it,
Yeah.
uphill
That
both
too.
ways.
That too. You couldn't call it in. Those are the good old. I love going back playing 1.0. No updates.
I do too.
Just the
I
raw
love it.
version of the game. I love it. So it's always
Yeah,
nice
well,
to go backwards and play the older versions.
Reminisce from the good old days, the good old bad old days. Oh dear me. Well, gents, I'm going to have
It was a mess.
to go. But before I go, I just wanted to mention that again, the virtual meetup is there. The Discord's open for everyone that wants to take part in it. I know it's being promoted by certain people. I hope it will. The laptop won't burn out in the process that I've set it all up. That'll be on the 27th at 6 p.m. I know B is going to be there, and as I mentioned, the other people. So I should be there with my R2D2 and my laptop. So I hope you can join up on that, and I'll be having a StarField party on the 1st, and finally I do these community fun days. I know, Jason, you've been supported them, which is good, which is for the community. So anybody who wants to bob along for that and not just have a 15 minutes or half an hour chat about what they're doing in No Man's Sky, or just wants to do something like this, I do it every Sunday from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. for the community. So yeah. But it's been an utter pleasure, gents. Thank you very much for allowing me. I know I wasn't scheduled to come in, but it's been an utter pleasure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Love having you on.
Thank you, and the pleasure's been all mine. Well, look after yourselves and have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day, audience, and look after yourselves. All right then, bye.
Later.
Later. Yeah, I
did
don't
we
even.
lose Cynical?
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah,
what.
Cynical popped out. He said he had some stuff to take care of, but he'd be lurking in the chat.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, if I calculate how many hours I have on each platform, because I have the game on every platform, probably close to 10,000 hours, maybe, overall.
Holy smokes.
Not to mention, like, on my PlayStation account, I have 4 separate profiles I play on. 4 separate profile accounts. I'm telling you, well, on my main account, my Moose Gaming account, I only have 1 save slot left, and I'm saving that for the next expedition. So I don't know what I'm gonna do when the 4th expedition comes out.
Are you a secret game tester for Hello Games? What are you doing?
No, but I should be a game tester for Hello Games. Let me tell you, I find and break stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I find all sorts of stuff.
When was the last time they asked us to send in our saves? I know that was a while ago at this point.
Oh, I think it's been about a year.
Was it that recent? I thought it was a couple years ago. I thought it was 2021. Maybe it was last year.
I think last year they asked for saves. Right before, well, I don't know. When did Settlements come out? Because I think it was just before Settlements came out.
That was Frontiers, so that would have been 2021. Wasn't that October 2021?
Yeah, it might have been 2 years ago then, yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever they ask, I'm sure they say, "Hey, a moose. Actually, we don't need yours because we don't have the room. So
Exactly.
we're good."
Yeah. So, but I mean, I think another thing is some of the issues that we see with the glitches and stuff in the game now. My honest opinion, I feel that the Switch version should have been its own universe. It should have been a completely separate entity from what we have here. Yes, it sucks that it doesn't have multiplayer. It would be nice if it did have multiplayer. But I could go to somebody's massive base on the Switch and it'll load, but
Does it load? Because I mean, there's a couple I've hit that don't.
Yeah, there's some that load, but there's some that don't load well. Let's put it that way. They don't look that great. But and that's why I said I think that it's just too much. So are we softening the base game to make it so that it'll run on Switch? And if so, that's why I feel as though it should have been its own separate universe.
Also, go ahead.
I agree with you. 100%, and I feel like that's a question everyone will always be asking, because I don't think they'll ever tell us outright yes or no. Oh yeah, we're totally limiting the game so we can fit it on a Switch or whatever. They'll never confirm that, but that'll always be the question. And to your point, I would have said if they had multiplayer, you can't really do that. But when they decided no multiplayer, they should have just said, okay, no multiplayer. So that gives us the freedom to just make a whole new Switch version. It has its own world, so we don't have to worry about the bases or anything like that, to kind of optimize it just for that.
Yeah,
because it feels like, they're trying to squeeze this whole thing onto a mobile. Basically, hey, you can play it on your phone. It's like, well, maybe not really. It does work, but maybe you should have made a whole different version instead.
Well, originally that's what we thought it was going to be, because it was called Switch Edition, meaning its own entity. But then they said it was going to be in the same world as everybody else, and it's like, well, now you're kind of hurting both sides here. So,
yeah. Oh, and 100%. And that's when they initially announced it. I thought that too. I said, I think I made a video about it saying, they're probably going to put out a Switch version. There won't be any updates to it because it's the Switch, and they can't just keep cramming stuff on. And they do, and it's like, do you guys really want to do that? I mean, I would love to ask the community and say, hey, would you be upset if they cut it off and said, look, the Switch version is frozen in time because it just, you can't keep cramming all of these new things on there. It'll just, your Switch will explode.
Right.
Like the Titanic waiting to happen.
Yeah.
As far as Sean's emote, he did post it, everybody. You guys see it? It was the question marks.
Wait,
That's
what?
the emote.
Does that count? Does that count?
I don't know, but I mean, it is with echoes.
It is.
I mean, it's not really an emoji, is it? It's just a question mark. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, with all, it is technically an emoji symbol, but yeah, it's not on its own. It's in a post with other things. I jokingly said the other day, I was like, look, he probably sat down and said, what emoji even does correspond with Echo? Screw it. We're just going to announce it ahead of time because there's nothing. We'll put a question mark on there and call it good.
There you go. Yep.
not having an emoji is better for Max Hayes.
Yeah.
I mean...
And Jason, I give you a lot of crap for walking in circles, but I'll admit, the past couple days, I walked in a lot of circles with no HUD.
No HUD, dude. That is... I learned my lesson with that. I only do live streams of no HUD because it is... I'd never like to admit how long I played because whenever I cut like a series of videos, I'll try to trim out and edit.
Oh, sure.
I had to trim a lot of, hey, I just realized I walked in a circle. Well, let's not admit that, so I'm going to cut it.
Yeah, exactly. That's easy to do, though, especially with no HUD.
Yeah, exactly. No one will know. I bet you there's one guy on there. If I go back through those comments, he's probably like, hey, you were already here. But I didn't acknowledge it on the video, so it doesn't count.
I think it took me an hour or two to find a trade center that had ships. I was going off on that challenge, like, okay, I'm not gonna use a starter ship, I'm gonna just find an abandoned ship somewhere. Yeah, that was brutal. Just going through, what is it, Toxic Planet, relying on whatever you can grab, and then just completely going out into the distance. And
Did you switch it up to extreme, or did you play on normal?
I think, would I have it on normal? I think
Actually,
so.
normal is always what I recommended first because people don't get their bearings, and you need to know how to approach it before you get really extreme because it gets frustrating.
Was that the permadeath? It was a permadeath stream that I had with no HUD.
Oh Lord! There you go. Just jump in with both feet, man. Holy cow!
Worst part too is I got all this cool stuff to sell. I've had 2 ships land, no NPC showed.
I hate that. That is it's so many of those kind of instances that normally wouldn't bother me because who cares? I can just fly up to the space station. But when you're doing a challenge to force it to work, you're like, why?
Yep. 2 landed, not one person got out. Or if they did, they were buried underground and I couldn't see them or find them. It's like
I don't think they are because I've had that happen probably a handful of times, and I've literally terrain manipulator just flattened it. I can never find them. They're just gone.
Can we just go back to the days where we didn't have to talk to the NPC? We just talked to the ship.
Talk to the ship.
Really?
Oh yeah. The NPCs never used to get out of the ship. They would stay in the ship, and that's what you would talk to when they landed.
Yeah, and it would have a little tiny like a character model come up on the screen after you interacted with the ship. There are times where like you can tell if I'm tired on a stream, and these are the 2 things. I'll start talking to the ships, and then I'll go, oh yeah, I gotta go talk to the character. And I keep looking for Tetra Cobalt because that doesn't exist anymore. But that was the best way to make money back in the day, and I just instinctively try to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, now the best way to make money is actually planting sac venom.
Yeah.
Sac venom?
Yes, sac venom. They sell for like, I think it's, let me look. I think it's 64 or 72,000 a piece.
A piece?
A piece. Yeah. That's the highest priced item.
Yes.
The expedition stuff, those are always there. Someone will always build it, and then you just go and grab it.
60,800 a piece.
And that even outsells Nip Nip? No, it can't.
Yes. Yep.
What?
Are you serious?
Yeah, let me see.
What a secret. Then I need to start checking because this is the problem. You do it better than I do because I just go by memory. I'm like, oh yeah, it's always Nip Nip farms, or that's for your basic level. If you're gonna do like a stasis farm, sure, but Nip Nip all the way.
Wait, is it even outselling like a 10 stack of stasis devices?
Yep, Nip Nip is 47,284 each.
Dang it.
Well, no, it won't outsell Stasis Device, but Stasis Device is, a big thing, a top tier item that you craft and build. Whereas
it's going to take way too long.
Yeah, Sac Venom is just gold and emerald, and it grows in 4 hours. So you could have, say, 20 plants every 4 hours, and you're making almost 2 mil.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And that's why, from the get-go. That's why back in the day we had tetracobalt. If you found a cave, there was subterranean relics, and when you picked it up, the subterranean relic was trash. I think it was 15 or 20,000 a piece.
Yeah.
But it also gave you tetracobalt, which gives you did give you 125 ionized cobalt, which was way worth it back in the day.
Yeah. And now I don't think the market crashing works anymore. I'm pretty sure that each system is individual on its own. So crashing the market won't work no more.
They did that. And they also nerfed the crap out of all the prices anyway. So you'd have to have multiple stacks of 9,000 just to even try to do it.
Activated indium used to be the thing, too. I love watching people make those farms.
Oh, yeah, they dropped that. They nerfed that big time.
Big time fast. Well, I will say, they nerfed all this stuff, and then I realized that my oxygen farm really became valuable after the 4.0 update. I was like, yes! The one thing I didn't care about, now it works really good.
Yeah. As far as minerals to mine now, gold. Gold is the highest selling item.
Really?
Yeah. So if you, it's worth more than activated iridium.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look at that
they
again.
nerfed the crap out of that. Wow. I think I have a gold farm.
Let's see. Gold sells for 353 units apiece. Activated iridium sells for 165 units apiece.
Yeah. Back in the day, I had a gold and a silver farm because you can make platinum out of that, and then refine your platinum for nanites.
Platinum sells for 505, but like you said, you need gold and silver to make that.
Not to mention it has diminishing returns, unfortunately.
Yes.
So I'm so bummed
now,
about
if you could find a cursed dust deposit, you're not going to find that, but 959 units.
Yeah.
Unless you want to spend the units to go into a derelict freighter every single time.
The cursed dust you can get from the outlaw stations. You could do missions for them and get cursed dust.
Yeah. And that's what always got me was that it sounded cool at the time when I finally realized the whole trading economy and doing the whole economy crashing to get number one your ton of money, but number two all of your inventory slots. But it kind of dawned on me. I was like, this is gonna definitely be something that they're gonna nerf because everyone's doing it, and it doesn't make sense that you can do. And eventually they did. I wonder if they would have I don't even know what they're doing over in Hello Games right now, but they're making a new game. Do you think that it's going to have an economy? Do you think it's going to be that kind of a game, or do you think it's going to be Joe Danger 3?
I mean,
no, I don't think it'll be Joe Danger 3.
You could make a whole universe of jumps. Come on, Moose.
If I'm gonna do it, I could do that back on the Nintendo and play Excite Bike.
Excite Bike. Every jump procedural. Come on. Never ever the same.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they might slip in an RPG. They've done puzzle. They've done base game. Now I think they're ready for an RPG of some type.
So do you think it's going to be a heavy RPG? Do you think they're going to go down the road of like a StarField?
Maybe something like that. I'm thinking not necessarily like Baldur's Gate Extreme. Maybe along the lines of what game am I thinking about? Something medieval times like. Maybe in that direction. Swords, bow and arrows, something like that. Maybe a little peaceful.
Oh, more medieval.
Yeah. With the last Campfire and No Man's Sky, it hasn't been as violent, so maybe they're going along the same route as No Man's Sky to be vast, but not necessarily an extreme action game. Maybe just something. But it's so hard to tell without clues.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing we know is that it's on the same scale. I don't even know what that means. Same size. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I truly believe that the last couple of years they've been using some of the expeditions as a test to not only see, how they can modify and help No Man's Sky perform better, but also a testing bed to say, hey, do people actually care about this stuff, or does it actually work? And can we use that in another game that we make later on down the road? I really do. And so, yeah, there's some of these things that I'm like, you see it once and then it's never again, and you're like, why? I wonder why. Oh, it's probably because it didn't work like they wanted to, so maybe that's not in the new game, or maybe it is and they just don't want to talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they definitely use the expeditions as testing grounds, especially even just for the base game, because look at the ones that we've all had to build a base on the same planet. You know what I'm saying? So are they maybe using that to see like how well the planet can hold that much data, that much load, how many people can actually be in the system at the same time, what's happening to it when they're there. So I'm sure they definitely use all this stuff for testing as well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. When I saw that we were all not only building, but we were uploading, and you have to reach you can't just put one piece down and upload it. You have to reach a certain threshold. So they were actually testing a limit on that for sure, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. And that right there too, honestly, could be a big issue with some of the problems with No Man's Sky, as far as it could be causing some of the multiplayer issues. So every base that we upload sits on their server, and it sits there. Now, what happens when you delete your save? Or what happens when you're in permadeath and you die? That base is still there. Doesn't go away. So all those bases of every save that you've ever built and you've deleted, those bases are still there. Even if you delete your base, it's still on the server.
Really? It doesn't update and refresh that?
Nope. I've tested this myself. I actually built a base on one of my console, deleted it, had another one of my characters join that same system, and as soon as that character joined the system, the base that I uploaded, poof, automatically appeared.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
once it's uploaded, it's there. It sticks. Maybe if they could implement some kind of like, I know Typo has mentioned it, some kind of like lifeline for the bases, or like that particular save account, some way to register that, that save account has been deleted, remove the bases. But then you run into the issue of some of those bases were built in community civilizations where other people are using the base. So we don't really want to get rid of it because other people are using its assets. So it's kind of like a no-win situation, really.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's definitely something they need to address. And sometimes it's the same thing they did with the 4.0 update. Sometimes just rip the Band-Aid off and say, hey, look, it sucks. We don't want to do this, but for the benefit of going forward, we need to, and we don't want to keep pushing it off and having you guys build more and build more and build more. It's just going to keep getting larger, and the pain's going to be more painful a year from now. We're just going to do it right now and be done with it.
Right. Or somehow build an entirely separate universe, a fresh universe. Almost like a new game plus, where it's a completely, but I guess maybe that would mean them having to buy a separate server or use a separate server to have a completely separate universe. That way they don't have to,
I would just, I have no idea how the intricacies work in it, but I would love for them to give us a dedicated single player mode and a dedicated multiplayer mode. So you actually have to load in so that the game itself, you maybe it's two different servers or however it shakes out. There is a straight up multiplayer. If you want to play that, it's going to be janky. It's going to run worse. But if you want a clean experience, you want to play solo, we have this fresh universe. There's no bases anywhere. There's all these planets. They're all the same, but there's nobody can claim a base in this this version.
Yeah.
And it runs flawlessly because it's not checking for bases. It's not trying to load in all these different artifacts and things like that. It's just taking in your data. Maybe you could say finding animals and stuff like that when you're identifying planets and stuff is still there, but no bases.
Right. Or, another option too is put it out there where we can purchase our own servers.
So now you're stuck into the realms of like Elite Dangerous and Ark.
Well, yeah, Ark, where you can get a server from Nitrado, right? Same thing with Minecraft. Minecraft has servers as well. Can we, be able to have our own servers?
Would that be possible though? Because you'd have to copy over the entire universe, all of the universes, to a different server every time, or is it just going to be system based?
Well, it would be like the purchaser's base. So if you were to get your own server, so say like I bought a server through Nitrado for No Man's Sky, so I pay a monthly fee for that server. Now, whether that money, I'm sure the money goes to Nitrado, but maybe some of it also goes to Hello Games, right? And that would be a nice way for them to make some revenue off of it too.
No. Yeah, I understand that part, but implementing, like copying over all the files, saying, "Hey, look, our servers can barely handle all the bases we have, and here you go, buy a server, and we're gonna just copy and paste it, and it's just gonna." I mean, is it gonna take a couple weeks or?
Well, I think it would just be a fresh, like you were saying, the single player experience and the multiplayer experience. It would just be a fresh server with nothing on it. You could invite people to it and they can build and do whatever.
That would be cool. See, I would like it if they, I don't even know if it's possible, but just go system-wide save. So you can say, hey, look, your system, this one system that has, 8 planets or 6 planets on it, you can make a server for that only, and you can have your friends come in and you can build on all these planets, but it's only for that one. Once you leave that system, it switches back over to the community, server or whatever.
That would make sense.
Right.
So that way there's not too much clutter there when people keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, then all of a sudden crash.
Yeah, and it would keep people out. So if you have someone who wants to grief your base, it's like, sorry, I have it on a server and you don't have any access to it.
Right.
All right, you guys, I have one more question before we wrap it up. I know you've already heard about what Nintendo has done in the past previously with their games. They're strictly no modders. So for the first question, if we were going to mod No Man's Sky, would Nintendo be okay with that? I know Nintendo does it for their games only, but for outside games, do you think they're cool with it? And then the second question I had, is that I'm guessing some gaming companies it's Minecraft. Minecraft was going after content creators because of their brand. Minecraft didn't want their specific brand name inside these thumbnails or just mentioned anywhere else from content creators. Do you think Hello Games is going to move in that same route?
No.
Yeah, I'd say no on both.
Yeah, I don't see Hello Games doing that. I mean, they, Sean has said that the community is what keeps them going, right?
Right.
And they allow us to use their likeliness in our thumbnails, on some of our merch, all of the music from 65 Days of Static. They don't put copyrights on it, which is absolutely amazing. And we, the creators, help draw in more people to the game. I mean, every day almost there's somebody popping in someone's stream like, oh, I'm new to the game, I just started playing it. So I don't think they'll ever do that. I just don't see it happening.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's from the outside looking in, because I'm not a major part of the Minecraft community, but I've seen because Minecraft is so large, they have millions of people part of that community, and there's going to be a lot of bad actors in them and in there. And for better or for worse, the No Man's Sky community is more close-knit. We're not as large. You know, there's not as many players on No Man's Sky versus Minecraft.
Right.
And so there's less bad actors. Not saying that it's completely beautiful. There's always going to be bad people in there. But
Of course.
they're more nefarious from what I've seen in Minecraft. And I don't think it's the correct way to go about it. But Microsoft and Mojang they're saying, look, we have these people making some outrageous stuff on YouTube. And so it's too tiresome and it's not cost effective to just go after each individual one. So because we have that going on, we have to just blanket. You can't use our name in your thumbnails. You can't use our name in your titles and things like that. And it sucks, but that's what they have to do. Whereas the No Man's Sky community is not there. And so I don't think it's ever going to be a worry, at least that I have. I mean, when it happens, I'm going to have to make a new channel. Thankfully, StarField's coming out soon. I have thousands of videos that are going to be taken down immediately. I think, last I checked, I have over 1,200 videos that literally say the word No Man's Sky in the... Because I did that first thing I checked was, okay, if No Man's Sky did this to us, how screwed am I? And I said, oh yeah, that's like 93% of my videos are just immediately gone. Great. Okay, we need to expand out a little bit. But hey, I don't think it's ever going to come in here. And as for Nintendo with mods, Nintendo, they're very strict about it. And
Yeah.
I honestly, I truly believe that I love and I appreciate Hello Games trying to put it out there and keep it up and maintain it. But I truly do think that they're launching on different platforms to kind of bring in new players, but it's more of like the final gasp of we're reaching the finish line is coming, and before we get there, we want to make sure it's playable for as many people as possible before we move on to our new game. And I'm not saying it's tomorrow, I'm not saying it's next year, but I think they're getting close. And so part of that was we're going to slap it on the Nintendo Switch and we're going to try to maintain it, but end of the day, if we have to say, look, this game is now feature finished, feature complete, we're never going to touch it again, it could probably do that.
Right.
Nice.
Like I said, plot twist. Maybe their partner have something to do with StarField.
I really want to believe that StarField is just a really heavily modded version of No Man's Sky. They put a Bethesda skin on No Man's Sky.
Oh man, everything that No Man's Sky players have been asking for are gonna be put into that game. Especially the ship customization and
Ship
coloring.
customization. Oh lord,
Let's
when I
think
saw
about
that.
this.
Oh.
If we get an expedition to start next week, right? It'll probably last what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
Because, oh man,
which would bring us up to the launch of StarField.
An
And
expedition? No, I
let's-
think. Wait, I don't think any expedition has been less than 6 weeks there, Moose. Other than the replays.
oh, maybe, yeah.
So I
Well,
think
either- let's just
I mean,
say
it might only last 2 weeks for you because you're going to go to StarField. I understand that.
well, let's just say it does come into where StarField launches, but there's something in this expedition that's time gated around the same time of the launch.
That's what they did with
Oh.
Mass Effect.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe there's some kind of collab that's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe not.
Wait, okay, so let's just theoretically, it's going to happen. They have a collaboration. What do you want to see? What is that feature that they're going to bring in to the expedition from StarField?
Maybe they're going to give you your color customization for your ships, Jason.
I wish. They're going to add a whole new feature 2 weeks into the expedition. That would be amazing.
I mean, I don't know.
it's got
Maybe some type of new ship that, something that's in
They
StarField
could do
that's
that
iconic to
StarField
it.
ship.
Yeah.
It could be Vasco.
It could be
new companion.
Vasco as a companion. Yeah, it could be an expedition reward. We could get Vasco. That would be cool. See, that's what I'm thinking more of. It'll be an expedition reward, like in phase 4 or 5. We'll get something that's in there. Maybe we get a Vasco. That would be awesome. I'll take that as a companion. Yeah.
So, we don't know. Maybe. Who knows? We could just be blowing smoke up, but hey.
I don't think so.
It's nice to speculate,
honestly,
right?
I have a sneaking suspicion that they probably have been working on this update because I mentioned it a little bit earlier. They traditionally have always done an expedition with an update. So it's always been both at the same time. And then the last year, they've kind of said, hey, I think Sean Murray literally tweeted out, hey, we never said they were together, and it doesn't mean you're going to get an expedition when an update comes out.
Right.
And so that when he said that, I was like, okay, something's going on. Like they bit off more than they can chew or something because they are slowing it down now. But the fact that we just got an expedition in June that lasted us until now, meaning to me, it was they said, hey, look, put out an expedition, keep everyone busy while we work on this big update. And I'm not saying it's going to be big, who knows?
Right.
But still took longer because who puts out the anniversary video for their anniversary 2 weeks after? Someone who's busy, and they were like, we thought it was going to be out on that day, but we kind of screwed up. We needed an extra 2 weeks, so sorry.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely.
So I think that they had to spend more time polishing it, and so that's why number one, that's why we got an announcement on a Friday with no emoji. I think it's a last minute, like they were trying to get it out in the beginning of August to make sure they were clear of StarField. And now the last couple weeks they've been in emergency mode, like, oh crap, we have less than a month before StarField gets out. We need to all hands on deck, work 24/7, sleep at the office, do what you need to do because this StarField is going to screw us up.
So, yeah, that sounds more like a marketing thing to push us on. Just get it out, just get the title out, get them hyped because it's coming.
Exactly. I'm sure. Sean Murray, he tweeted the second he knew. It's like, okay, we know it's coming out next week. Do it now. Just put out the emoji or put out the announcement. I mean, that's what it feels like. That's all speculation. Who knows? Maybe this was the plan the entire time, and there is some weird StarField like integration that they're doing. But it feels more like emergency. It took longer. It was way more difficult than we thought. So now we're kind of behind schedule.
Could be. But if we've learned anything from Hello Games, nothing is what it seems. I mean, just take his emojis, for example.
Snowflake emoji. Come on.
Ooh, salt on the wound.
I think that there's not I love Sean Murray, and I think he's a great developer, but I think that there's not a roadmap in place. I think he's going by the seat of his pants, and the emoji thing was working, so just keep going with it. And then he finally got to a point, he's like, fractal? What is snowflake? Okay, that's what it is. Echoes? I have no idea. Throw out a question mark. We're running out of emojis here.
Yeah.
And then one more bit before we wrap up. The thing is, they do have a roadmap, so I'm like, why don't they just share a roadmap? Like, that's it. Even like as a little tweet. It's all, okay, cool, now we have a roadmap of what they're actually gonna do and blah blah blah, and then that's it. Like, they don't have to comment on it, they don't have to like have an interview about it. It's just boom, there's a roadmap.
I don't think they do. I honestly don't. I think that they have an idea, but the last couple of years, like, I don't know if you guys remember the announcement for the Switch. It came out in February, and they said it was a summer update. And then in the summertime, they said, oh, yeah, it's October, actually. I think that they have an idea, and they want to get these things done, but there's no roadmap because they get in there and they're like, oh, okay, this is going to take longer than we thought. It's harder to do. And so if we put out a roadmap, if they said summer update is going to be this, and then they have to push it back to October or November, then they're like, well, now we just don't say anything because we don't know.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
I mean, the case in point, look at the launch. They stated all these different things that it was going to have, so they kind of laid out a roadmap for what they wanted to do, but they were being pushed by Sony because Sony was backing them, making it a AAA title at launch, and they were under the gun and they were running short on time, so they had to put out what they had. They knew it was unfinished, It didn't have what, everything that was discussed and talked about, but they put it out because they were under the deadline, and it hurt them. So I think maybe that's why they're so cryptic about stuff now, is because they don't want to be put under the gun like that, to like say, oh, we want to work you up for, this is what we got, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. But then when it doesn't happen, they don't want the fans to be disappointed. So in the speculation works. I mean, look at how much content comes out of the speculation when Sean just puts out an emoji. I mean, Christ, the No Man's Sky community goes crazy as soon as an emoji shows up on Facebook, on Twitter, or X. Thanks, Elon.
It's gonna be Twitter until I die.
Seriously.
Yeah. So it's. I think that is their roadmap. That is his plan. I'm gonna put an emoji. Everybody's gonna go hype and crazy. It's gonna make all this content. People are gonna buy the game, and then when it comes out, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with that to a certain point, but I also think that it is slowly starting. The train is falling off the tracks as time goes on, because I don't know how many times we've had the snowflake emoji. It was like, oh, it's gonna be this, and the community gets hyped up. And then it's oh yeah, by the way, it's a Mac release. It's like, well, I don't care. Thank you, I guess, but cool for the however many people have a Mac, but that's not me. And when you do that, one time, okay, not a big deal. But when they've had a few, and it's not always in a row, but they've had a few, and especially they've been more often the last couple of years that people get extra hyped up. Oh man, this is gonna be the big one. It's gonna totally change the game. And then it turns into, oh yeah, it's actually a PSVR 2 release.
Right.
It's like, well, great.
That's why Todd Howard had to jump in for a specific interview with Xbox and be like, I'm here to set your expectations a little lower than what you're expecting.
I don't know. Then he said 16 times the detail. Get out of here, Todd.
Oh man, those questions. I was there the morning that they were answering them. I was like, where do we see the questions at? And you had to go to a different tab to see the questions as they were filling them in.
Dude, when they first announced that, I was like, okay, they're going to have like a fireside chat thing like Diablo or something.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, no, it'll be on Discord. And I was like, okay, maybe they're going to do a voice chat in Discord. Oh, no, it's going to be written. I was like, okay, come on now.
But there was some useful stuff that came out of it, but I think not so much. I got to look at the information again.
Well, for me, it was more about, because when I saw that it was going to be live Q&A, I was like, okay, I'm recording my screen because I'm hoping someone types out an answer they're not supposed to give.
Yeah.
And I can record that, and then they go back and edit it. So I'm like, oh, I know what you really meant. Did not happen, though, dang it.
But you guys, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you, Moose. Thank you, Jason. Survival Bob. Miyogi, Professor Cynical, everyone, thank you so much for coming. This means a lot. I do want to keep doing these state of the game kind of things, even for StarField when it comes out. But once we go ahead and see where Echoes is, we might reconvene and then have this conversation again.
Yeah. I'm happy I was able to join. Having the day off of work is great sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. This is Azarath. And guys, do you want to sign off too, or just want to conclude it?
Bye everybody. Take care.
Dude, everyone, thank you guys for hanging out and also hitting that like button. I see a lot of people in there did not hit that like button. Hit it.
Yeah, smash it.
There you go. Smash the like button.
Thanks everyone again.
You know what?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, hit it twice. No, hit it 3 times just to make sure you hit it.
Later, everyone. Peace.